It is so nice to be at a place where people intentionally come to hear the unexpected. It's going to be a lot easier than what I do on a normal basis where I talk to people that don't like the unexpected. So let me ask you, if you could make a building talk, what would you do with that? What would it say? Could you change lives with that capability? You probably could. I'm with 40 Circle, and we listen to buildings talk. We bring them to life, and we listen to them talk. And it's amazing what they say. They tell us things about buildings that are right here in front of us. They tell us how healthy the building is, the air quality, whether water, electricity, natural gas are being wasted. Do the mechanicals inside the building fight each other, or do they work together like they were supposed to? They tell us amazing things about the people inside, and when we listen to the people inside, they tell us things too. Do they feel safe? Is it fun to live here? Is it delightful? This is an amazing building, but it's not as smart as this one. 40 Circle bought this building in July of this year and brought it to life. And it quickly became 50% more profitable because we brought it to life and we were able to listen to the things that just the building said. But because we listen to people too, and we're connecting people, business, and natural resources all together, something very powerful happened. In less than 120 days, it became 100% more profitable. Now, let me go back. We bought it when it was already profitable. But because we combined people, business, and natural resources, it became 100% more profitable. Well, now you've got the opportunity to do something. You can start changing lives. And so what began as a cascading effect. And what I'd like to talk about is that cascading effect and use a mental map so you can follow us the rest of the talk this afternoon. Probably the best example of this is what ecologists call trophic cascading. And if you've seen this video on the internet, it's about how wolves changed Yellowstone National Park. By just coming in at the top of the food chain, after 70 years of absence, the reintroduction of wolves changed the entire ecosystem. And it changed the rivers. It changed the geography because it rebalanced the ecosystem. Each animal, each level of the food chain did what they do best. And the erosion stopped in the rivers, and the rivers stabilized. The same thing's going on in our communities. Now let me tell you a little bit about 4D Circle first, and then we'll get into really what I want to talk about today. 4D Circle does two things. We can build a building that makes more energy than it uses, or we can retrofit a building. We can upgrade it. This building, we're changing a business model for a nonprofit. This building will make more energy than it uses. It will be cheaper to build, easier to maintain, last longer, and it'll basically be a business model change for this nonprofit like Tower Records to iTunes. It's digitizing real estate. It's taking the technology that's all around us and making something new, creating. The leaders, the strong, courageous leaders of this nonprofit, it's the Fort Worth Police Officers Association. And they're giving their officers a better place as a destination by taking a chance to do something different, bucking the system, not complying with the status quo. It's interesting. This is fun. Now, this is a new build, and we can do all kinds of fun things because we can make that building talk. Well, what I want to talk about today is our retrofits, and that's a small slice of what we do. When we look at the Dallas skyline, we look and we see buildings that could be 50% more profitable. Not just office buildings, industrial sites, and apartments, even in New York City. When we install our technology and bring a building to life and listen to the people and listen to the building, we save natural resources. On average, our buildings right now use 60% less electricity, 45% less gas, if it's a building with gas, and 40% less water, just by bringing the building to life, to find out what's wrong with it, repair it, fix it, improve it. Those are big numbers. And it's not that hard. This is technology that we're used to. We've got it all around us. I was one of those guys that used the dial phone a long time ago. Dad said 2 minutes only on long-distance calls. Now look at us. We carry that technology around, and that technology talks to us. Airplanes, World War II airplanes, terrific airplanes, but really it was the pilot that made the airplane special. Now the airplanes that are flying, those pilots are enhanced by sensors and technology that integrate and tell them things about the environment and where they're going to make them much more survivable, much more effective, and they go a lot faster too. So what do we do with our buildings? We use this same technology, and basically we're giving our building an EKG and a blood test every 15 minutes. So the building tells us how healthy it is. Now the finance guys like it because they can see what's going on financially. But from making the building work, now we were able to say, well, what would we do if we could make a building speak to us and tell it how it's feeling, how it's performing? Who's comfortable with technology? Kids. Kids are the most comfortable with technology. So we looked at kids. The majority of the 40 Circle, our team, have either military experience or law enforcement experience. And we know that if you want to really understand what's going on in a building, watch the kids. So we did, and we talked to them. And we figured out, because when we first started buying buildings on the east side of Fort Worth, we didn't see many children. Well, military experience and law enforcement tells us it's because it's not secure. So we worked on security. Technology, bring in cameras. Make a deal with the tenants that if you're a good neighbor and you pay your rent on time, we will make your life better. In fact, we want you to be delighted by living in our properties. So we want to give you more than you expect. So if you can reduce the total cost of these buildings to operate, you can now make it more cost effective for these people to live there, lower their total cost of living in our properties. So if you focus on the children and security, look what happens. Our properties right now are able to reduce property crimes 56%. Crimes against society, 50%. Group B, which is drunk and disorderly, 25%. And that happens relatively quickly, and it's all with this value exchange we make with our tenants. Be a good neighbor, pay your rent on time, we'll bring you more than you expected. We'll make it better for you to live there. Well, now you're able to start changing lives. Because if you focus on what's going on with a tenant and how they feel about what you've learned from these buildings, you can do incredible things, like ask other nonprofits to come in and help you. So in the summertime, to make it more convenient for our parents, we asked the Boys and Girls Club to come and pick up our children, take them to perform mental, physical, leadership activities, and feed them too. Makes it more convenient for the moms and dads that need to go to work. Now we're starting to build trust. We've made it safer, and we're building trust. Well, what else could we do? Well, what we found as we made it safer and we started to build trust and a relationship with our tenants, they started coming out to engage us. And as they engaged us, we learned things that we had tenants that like to do things. Our tenants make our signs. And some of our tenants came out to help paint our signs. Adriana came out while Taylor, there on your left, was painting the sign. Michelle Peak was out there as well, and she helped. Now we've got tenant engagement, trust, engagement, lower cost to live there. This is good. We like it. What else can we do? Well, it's logical now to make this a better place for our tenants. We ask our good friends at the Women's Center to come and proactively deliver their services on our properties or through the internet that we provide to our tenants in the privacy of their own homes. So now, instead of waiting for the worst things that could happen in life to all of us, they're able to proactively try to solve some of those problems before it gets really bad. So they bring education and counseling and training. And it's good. These innovative people, these like-minded organizations and people that want to change lives, all because a building can talk. So what else can you do? Secure, lower cost, engagement, trust. Let's go after jobs. Let's help our tenants learn the job skills to get employed or get better employment. And that's where we are right now. 25% of our tenants that attended this class are now employed. We hope that number climbs. This happened just recently. We're going to continue that. Now it's self-reliance, and now the dignity of having a job and getting a paycheck. Now we're affecting not just the children, but the parents too. 2 generations. That's the secret message. If you want to change a community, you need to get to 2 generations, children and adults. Well, that wasn't enough because, like I told you, there's a lot of military and law enforcement in our company. We've got a heart towards homeless vets. Sometime in the next 30 to 45 days, we'll get our first homeless vets into our properties. And oh, by the way, we've got the services that they need to help reintegrate into society. This is great. But it wasn't enough. We're buying a building close to downtown Fort Worth, right next to Texas Can Academy. And we just started engaging them, and they're going to come to our open house next Saturday. They had some of our tenants' children in Texas Can. It's a perfect fit, because these are children that for whatever reason have fallen off the public school, the typical line of education path. Texas Can has a child that's been accepted to Notre Dame. They've got a 4-year-old that reads. Powerful. So as you continue to go around the circle, what else can you do to change lives? Because you've got as a business the opportunity, profitable enough to think differently. Now you go back to the children. Engagement, trust, pride, the dignity of a paycheck, self-reliance, health, healthy food. Tarrant County, Tarrant Area Food Bank is going to bring 4,000 pounds of food over to our properties. We own several properties on the east side of Fort Worth. They're going to set it up as a farmer's market. So now instead of a charity hand, it's a shopping experience. Pride, dignity, trust, security, changing lives, more secure lives. This cascading effect, this trophic cascade, is probably not a fair term for business, but business doesn't know how to do this, so they don't have a word for it. But if business people can make this kind of impact, it's game-changing. I'll tell you how game-changing it is. We bought a property, not our most recent, but the one prior to that, and not long after we bought it, we made it safer, and the kids came out in the common area, and the grills came out, and people started working and playing in the common area. There was a career day at Meadowbrook Elementary, and 2 of our partners went over for career day to speak about what we're up to. They were both former police officers, and they got to follow the SWAT team, all geared up. Oh, great. Tough act to follow, right? Actually, they stole the show because the kids came up and hugged them and told them thank you for making where they live safe. Wow. That's inspiring for 40 Circle. That'll last a long time, that feeling. So now, if you're able to provide that kind of security and you provide internet to your tenants and to the local businesses around your properties, you now have high band or high activity internet access, which directly correlates to income and education level. Access to information. It's true all over the world. So what do you do? What have we talked about so far today? Well, we talked about buildings that talk and the choice to change lives. We've talked about incredibly saving natural resources just because buildings can talk. We also talk about a small group of individuals and like-minded organizations willing to buck the system, not stand for the status quo, not do things the way they've always been done. And the secret to this, the TED takeaway, is in a community, we're not changing light bulbs. We're changing the fixtures. We're changing the ecosystem of our communities in partnership with the police department, with schools, with nonprofits. Recently, one of our partners took a phone call from a nonprofit CEO. Nonprofit CEO had heard about us and called and said, hey, I've done the math. You're paying investors what? So if I took my donation money and invested in you and your properties, you would pay my nonprofit? Yes. I could be endowed in 3 or 4 years. I wouldn't have to raise money anymore. As that movement scales, that is an idea we're spreading. Thank you.